Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Great to be back. I've got a vlog for you today. I've recently been to Comic-Con yet again, and I thought that it'd be a good idea to give a quick kind of adventure tour of how it went and what it's like, but also kind of review the event in the UK in terms of should you go? Is it worth going? What's there? Is it a fun day out for all the family, as they say? So we're going to jump into it. As always, leave a like and subscribe if you're new here, and you won't miss any content. So straight off the bat, like, Comic-Con is full of stuff. I mean, anything you can think of pop culture, it's there. It's comics, it's t-shirts, it's pops, it's customs, it's cosplay, it's action figures, it's models, even things that aren't related to franchises, just artists. Artist Alley is awesome. There's plenty of really good creators there, but whatever you're looking for, it's there in abundance. So there's artwork stalls, but there's a lot of them. Even some of them are similar in terms of the style, but there's opposite ends of the spectrum. There's all sorts of things. Excuse me. Nowadays as well, with anime being so big, there's a huge Pop Asia presence at the con. I think tickets are very reasonable in the UK, but that's different to your Comic-Cons in America. Obviously San Diego being like the big hitter, like the heavy hitter, so that's very expensive for tickets, hard to get tickets. MCM Comic-Con, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, my general tickets were about £20 for each day. You can buy weekend tickets, you can buy family tickets. I think kids under 10 go free. It's really it's a really good sort of cost-effective day out for all the family, or even a few friends, or just to go on your own. It's up to you. It's really not a huge financial uphaul, which is really good for a con, because then it means obviously you've got spending money on the day. It's kind of like going to a big concert or a big event, sporting event, and then having no money there to kind of enjoy yourself on the day. So one of the things you'll see here is Comic-Con has a lot of different things you can do. It's not just things to buy. Silver Sabers, I believe the name is, they're always there every time I've been there, and it's really cool. They really engage with the kids, and you can basically learn lightsaber combat, which is awesome. But it's not just the basics. They do have courses away from the con and online courses, and you can go to places all over the country to learn with them. It's really cool. But there's also, one of my favourite parts is the models, like the life-size models and the cosplayers. But the kind of cosplayers that they're there with the booths, or they've been paid there, like the UK Garrison, which I'll kind of touch on later. They're massive favourite of mine. It's one of the kind of big reasons I go really now. But like you can see here, like this booth is dedicated to kind of like creations, people custom building things and building props, and like the props are fantastic. Like seeing them up close, life-size, 1-to-1 scale. The helmets are awesome. They're not just the kind of Black Series helmets that you buy kind of from Zavvi and whatnot in the stores. These are made from scratch out of either EVA foam, 3D printed, resin casts, whatever it is. Some of them from some of the booths are screen accurate but screen used. Some of them are recreations. There's all sorts. Some of them are just artist interpretation, like the Grogu is really cool, things like that. And then you've got people's kind of their builds for their cosplay, and you can kind of see with this booth, the people there, they were also dressed up. You got the vintage Boba Fett from the holiday episode. That was awesome. But also you've got, like I said, the UK Garrison. So these guys, I've spoken to them before. They go to events like this, but they also go to children's hospitals, and I remember speaking to some of them. Many of them have been extras in films, for example, with their stormtrooper gear and stuff like that, because it's so good. And also being an extra and that kind of thing, it's if you're willing to spend thousands of pounds on gear, and you kind of can just be in the background, and you it's a real passion of yours, it's easy to kind of slot in. So it's something that I've talked to them about, that I've been really interested in. I think when I'm sort of a little bit older maybe, and got some more time to dedicate to it, because it is a voluntary kind of group, to to try and get involved and go to these events and get involved on projects. But seeing the speeder was one of my favourite things. It's one of my favourite parts of the original trilogy. I love real life props, and like some of the costumes are amazing. Like the Chewbacca was as big as it looks. It was, the guy is on stilts inside, but he was really charismatic, and he was great with the fans and stuff. But you had Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, really imposing looking figures, but also like you got the characters with the helmets, which they look fantastic whether they've been made or bought or whatever. But then you've got the characters who kind of fit the description, like the old Obi-Wan. The guy had he genuinely had a white hair, white beard. He had the kind of demeanor, and it was awesome. But yeah, the props, as you can see, like some of them are from the movie, some of them are just recreations, but you've got things from the Mandalorian, the original trilogy, the Clone Wars, all sorts of things. From blasters to just kind of accessories like communicators and things, but they're absolutely fantastic. I would definitely recommend. It's one of the best things about the con is like being able to see this kind of stuff. You can buy all sorts of things, but I think that's secondary. You should go for kind of the art and the experience on the day and that kind of stuff, because this is all free. You can walk around their booth, have pictures with them. They're really nice people, honestly, all of them. And like you can see here from the map, there's the UK Garrison, but there's garrisons, as they call themselves, kind of all over the world. So people who are a part of groups similar to the UK Garrison, where they're all enthusiasts, they all love Star Wars, they build costumes, they come to events. Like here, the minigun was part of the booth, but the Captain Rex guy was not part of the garrison. He'd come to the con and he wanted to meet like-minded people, so I imagine he'll join up, and that's kind of the beauty of it. It's a really big community feel at these cons, at least from my experience of MCM. And then like here, you see R2, this kind of steampunk R2 was just being driven around. It's an RC model, so a woman was walking around driving it, and it had sound effects and everything. But like, I love R2, who doesn't love R2? But this was such a beautiful model. Like you got your working parts and moving parts, but like the steampunk look was beautiful. It was kind of like looked like a I don't know if anyone's seen like the Wild Wild West, but the train and that, and the kind of the aesthetic of that kind of old western frontier look. But then there was a moment where there was a guy who'd come as Mando, and he had his own child kind of RC car, and they kind of met inadvertently, and they kind of didn't know what to do with each other. But it became a spectacle. Everyone was kind of like watching what's going on. But it was nice to see people kind of bumping into each other. But they passed the vibe check, let's put it that way. But yeah, like one of the other things, this wasn't the UK Garrison, but this guy is a custom designer. He builds these from scratch in his spare time, sells them on Etsy, I believe. And there's plenty of things like this, but they're just fantastic. Like, who doesn't love a helmet? They're fantastic to look at. But I mean, these are 1-to-1 scale, so it's brilliant. And this is the first time actually that I saw tattoo booths at the con. I know that they are a thing in other cons, but I've never seen one in the 3 years I've been. And there was plenty of areas. I mean, there's cosplay, there's autographs you can pay to have. There's different guests each year, and there's all sorts of places. You can go and do gaming for free and play on old consoles or all sorts of things. But like, there's plenty to do. Whether you are interested in Star Wars, Marvel, anime, films and TV, drawing, like there's literally everything, and there's lots of good food and inventive food, and it's just a good day out. I mean, for £20, I think my ticket was like £19 or £17.20 or something. After all the kind of booking fees, it's like 20 quid. And for me, get the train down or the tube, depending on if you're in London, and you're there already. So it's really not expensive, and I think, considering that, it's worth at least going once if you've never been before. But I think if you're like me, if you're a collector, if you're a creator, there's plenty to do, plenty to buy. People go there to buy sabers, they go there to buy action figures, like myself, things like that, and minifigs, all that sort of thing. Six scale figures. But I mean, there's all sorts to do. Even as you just saw there, the Halo booth. Halo's a new show. that they're dropping on Paramount. I think it's called Paramount Plus, but it's basically their answer, Paramount's answer to a streaming site. And we got to see half of the first episode early, and it was really cool, to be fair. Some of the CG was a bit sketchy in places, I will say that. So just, some of it's great and some of it's really not, so that it's not like it's a happy medium where there's consistency, so that's strange. But maybe it's, it releases in June, maybe it's not ready yet, but I would imagine it's ready at this point. But like you can see, here's plenty of collector booths where there's these people usually have their own shops, or they sell online and they come to the cons to kind of move their goods, as you will, as it were, rather. And there's plenty to do. You get Black Series figures that I collect, but there's all sorts. There's Legends, there's NECA, there's all sorts. In Demand Toys, one of my favourite booths. They're really nice guys, reasonable prices. But what they do I like is that they bring the kind of new wave stuff that hasn't been released on their website yet, in terms of like you can get hold of it yet. They bring it to the cons typically at the time. So there was the new Boba Fett vintage that I've got on pre-order, and various other things. The new Legends waves of like the white Darth Vader, that kind of stuff. But it's really cool, and it's nice to see it in person, because in the UK we don't really have, of course, like much presence in terms of in the stores with our collectibles. A lot of our stuff we have to go online, so having the cons is a nice way to kind of see it in person, and maybe decide if you want to put an order in or whatever. But there's plenty to do. Like there was a guy like this, was awesome. He just had exclusively his booth was just minifigs basically. There was other bits of Lego, but it was primarily just minifigs. He had them in abundance. I did pick up an R2 and C3PO pair, because I've got plenty of minifigs, but I just thought kind of like the Droids Tales show, the old school vintage show in 2D, I kind of like got inspired, and I was like, that would be kind of cool to have those in my backpack. Do shots now and again in coffee shops or wherever, but you'll be able to go to these cons and pick up most of the things that you'll be able to find online on eBay, Etsy, Zavi, whatever. You're going to find at these cons, but I definitely would recommend going, guys, and that's going to do it for me. So take care, and I'll see you in the next one.